Hi everyone, it's Amanda Santos and welcome back to another Stay Creating tutorial. Today I'm going to show you guys how to crochet this chunky scarf with fringe details. It's a super simple design. We use the same stitch throughout the scarf, so if this is your first time crocheting or if it's one of your first projects, it's going to be very easy for beginners. We use a bulky weight yarn as well, so it's going to work up really quickly. You can get it done in just a couple of hours. And if you prefer a written pattern, I have that available on my website at staycreating.co. You can also find a sustainable line of yarn that I just launched with hand spun yarn that is dyed using plants by artisans in Peru. There's new colors, new fibers being added to the site monthly, so I'm excited for you guys to see it. And so yeah, let's get started with the tutorial. So the materials that you'll need for this crochet scarf is a number 5 bulky weight yarn, a 9mm hook, some measuring tape, scissors, and a yarn needle. So to get started, we're going to start off with a slip knot. And then we're going to crochet 19 foundation chains. Then once you have 19 foundation chains, we're going to start on our first row, and we're going to be using a stitch called the up and down stitch. So we're going to start with a single crochet in the second chain from the hook. So that's 1, 2. We're going to single crochet, and then into the next foundation chain, we're going to double crochet. And then into the next foundation chain, we're going to single crochet, and you're going to continue alternating between double and single crochets. So we alternated between double and single crochets until we reached the end of our first row. And on that very last chain, you should have ended with a double crochet. And that completes our first row. And in that first row, just to double check your work, you should have a total of 18 stitches. So that's 9 single crochets and 9 double crochets. You want to make sure that you have an even amount of stitches. So even if you decide to go wider, this particular stitch does require an even number, or else it's going to throw off the stitch and it's going to come out really weird. And so we're going to move on to row number 2. To start row number 2, you're going to start with 1 chain, and this chain is not going to count as a stitch. We're going to turn our work, and then into that very first stitch, we're going to single crochet. Then into the next stitch, we're going to double crochet. And then the next stitch, single crochet. And just in that same way, we're going to continue to alternate between double and single crochets until we reach the end of row 2. So that completes row number 2. You should have, again, a total of 18 stitches, 9 single crochets and 9 double crochets. And every row is going to mimic that row that we just completed. So you should always start with a single crochet, and you should always end with a double crochet. If you don't, if you come to the end of your row and you end up ending off on a single crochet, you want to go back and see if you accidentally missed a stitch or if you forgot to alternate, because that will throw your work off. And then just for reference, I wanted to measure this to show you guys that this is about 11 inches wide. So you could go as wide as you want, or you can go even skinnier. Just make sure that you keep the even number of stitches. So we're going to repeat what we did in row number 2. And we're gonna just continue adding rows until you get the length that you desire for your scarf. So I'm thinking for my scarf, I'm gonna go for a length of around 60 inches. You can choose however long you prefer your scarf to be. If you have a scarf that you like the length, you can measure that and just go based off of that. So I'm gonna work on that, and then I'll check back with you guys once I have the length of my scarf done. All right, so I completed the length of my scarf. It ended up being a total of 60 inches long. And so once you get your desired length, then we're just going to fasten off here in the corner. So I like to just crochet 2 chains, and then I cut my yarn, and then I pull and push down on those 2 chains. So once you fasten off, we're gonna work on the tassels. So if you decide that you like your scarf just how it is with this clean finish, then you're pretty much done. You're just gonna weave in your ends. But if you wanna add tassels, that's what we're gonna work on next. All right, so we're gonna take one of the ends of the scarf and we're going to make some tassels here and attach them to that last row that we did. You're gonna cut 18 tassels at 21.5 inches. So we've got our 18 tassels here, and so I'm gonna just start with the first stitch right here in the corner. And you can just use your hook to get your yarn through it. And then you're just going to pull it down like halfway. And we're going to tie a knot here at the top. And the knot, you want it to be close as possible to the edge of that row. Just like that. So once you attach all of your tassels, then you can just kind of spread them down, and if you need to trim them, like if some of them are a little bit uneven, you can do that, or you could just leave it how it is. This was from when we fastened off, so I'm just going to just kind of even out the bottom. And then I'm gonna do the same thing on this side as well. So I finished both sides of the tassels. Now the last thing there is to do is to hide any of these loose ends and weave them in. And I'm realizing that this yarn is actually a lot thicker than I thought, so you probably need to use a hook. A smaller hook will probably be best. That's about it, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. That completes the tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions along the way, feel free to leave them in the comments below and I'll get back to you guys. And I would love to see the scarves that you guys are making, so don't forget to tag me on Instagram, and I'm excited to see how you guys wear it. So I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Stay creating, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.